Welcome to WikiAfrica Hour, a monthly live broadcast airing the fresh perspectives of Africa's Wikimedians. It's a space where they share their work and knowledge and digest, through African realities, the global Wikimedia movement. WikiAfrica Hour, the voice of African Wikimedians.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the 43rd episode of WikiAfrica Hour, titled Decolonising Knowledge on Wikipedia. Thank you so much for watching us now. And as you know, WikiAfrica Hour is the voice of African Wikimedians, supported by Wiki in Africa. And it's a space to share knowledge and digest. So for today's episode, we are honored to have Achal Prabhala as our host for today. Achal is a public health activist who works against medicine monopolies for years. Formerly, he spent several years as well working against copyright monopolies, as well as supporting new models of open knowledge and scholarship. Also, he, as a former Wikimedia Foundation Advisory Board member from 2006 and until 2018, he worked closely inside the Wikimedia movement. And in 2011, he initiated a project around oral citations to address one of the challenges facing Wikipedia. So thank you so much, Achal, for being here today to moderate and host the session. Right now I'll be on backstage to listen to you and other guests. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It's such a pleasure to be here. This is an incredibly important conversation. I'm so glad that I'm a part of this with you. My name is Achal Prabhala. I am joining you from Bangalore in South India, where I live. My connection, however, to the Wikipedia movement, as well as to this topic, because I understand this is Wiki in Africa. And one of the reasons I'm here is also because I have lived and worked in South Africa for the last 20 years, a couple of months every year, as well as in Brazil for the last 10 years or so. And a lot of the work that I did within the Wikimedia movement was across these three countries, which I'm very proud of. I myself had a somewhat bruising experiment with decolonizing knowledge a little before that phrase was even coined or gained any kind of popular traction. And that was around the citational practices on Wikipedia. And it grew out of the fact that while I lived in South Africa, I found that most of the citations that accompanied articles on people or towns or regions of South Africa often traced, or overwhelmingly traced back to a colonial publication. And so not only were the citations from an alien person and an alien country, they were also remarkably out of date, because if a subject hadn't been examined in the United Kingdom, let's say for the last 50 years, then it did not seem like anything had changed on Wikipedia. I grew frustrated with that and worked on a project to change it. I'm delighted to talk about your perspectives on decolonizing knowledge. And so let's start off. And one way we can do that perhaps is by introducing our guests today. We have with us Iolanda Pensa, who is a Wikipedian and a researcher. She was one of the movers behind 2016 Wikimania event, Wikimania Essinolario, which is where she's from, in Italy. So over to you, Iolanda, to introduce yourself a little more. Hello.
Hello, good morning, everyone. At the moment, I work at SUPSI at the university in southern Switzerland, and we are leading a project called Decolonising Knowledge in Switzerland in collaboration with Wikimedia Switzerland. So this is a major activity for us, also because it's a topic that I really care about. I've been acting on the WikiAfrica project since the early beginning, and I think the world has has changed very drastically in the last year. There have been a growing attention in Europe for this topic of decolonization, and I think it can bring very interesting content and also new ways of collaborating also on Wikipedia and the Wikimedia Projects.
Thank you so much, Iolanda. So next we turn to Asulu Peterkan, who works in architectural history and heritage preservation, and fuses that with advocating for free knowledge in Nigeria. Luther, over to you to tell us a little more about yourself.
Thank you, Achal. Thank you for this opportunity. It's really an honor to sit here and talk about decolonization of information on Wikipedia with very intelligent and smart minds. I feel like it's a discourse that's been pending for so long, and something that we are supposed to have delved in a very long time. I'm very passionate about open source knowledge, especially in the GLAM related space of things, from archives to artifacts to art and what have you. And this is really an interesting opportunity to get to give my awareness to the general public about how this can be done and what can be done from our own end as individuals to make sure that the right thing and the right stories are being told. So thank you very much for the opportunity again, and thank you for having me.
Great, thank you, Luca. We turn next to Sandra Schmidt Soster. Sandra is the GLAM and culture manager of the Wiki Movimento in Brazil since 2022. She holds a PhD in architecture and urbanism from USP, the University of Sao Paulo. And over to you, Sandra, to tell us more.
Thank you, Achal. Thank you for the invitation. My name is Sandra Soster. I'm the GLAM and Culture Manager of the fresh new Wikimedia Brazil. We were recognized as a chapter in the beginning of this month. So I'm really passionate for this topic of decolonization. My PhD degree was about, my thesis was about diffusion of cultural heritage and how citizens could participate in the decisions of what to be listed. So I'm really excited to be in this conversation. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful, Sandra. Welcome. And now to Chantel Edie, who is not a Wikipedian. And so welcome, particularly Chantel. Welcome to this very strange world where we will surely benefit from your experience, not as a Wikipedian, on Wikipedia. And genuinely, I sincerely mean that. Chantal is an artist whose representation extends beyond her visual practice as a photographer and a writer. Among the many projects she's worked on is the Once Upon a Time Symposium in Yaoundé in Cameroon. Chantal, over to you.
Thank you so much, Achal. Thank you, everyone. Yes, I'm Chantel Edie. I'm also the co-founder of the Forest Creative Loft, a space that we created in 2020, a space that's really focused on social thinking. And I think I will not say my first interaction with decolonization was in 2022, but the most intimate was when we created a school called the Rainy Season School, where we were directly talking about decolonization, decolonizing knowledge, actually. It all really started off with the repatriation of artifacts from Cameroon to France during the 2020 conference. I'm sure you heard about it. But also, just recently, I had secured an exhibition on the German colonial impact in Cameroon. And there again, I really had this close connection about, decolonizing knowledge or about the coloniality of power. So I'm really, really happy that I'm able today maybe to share that part of, my experience with you. Thank you.
Amazing. So let's get straight into our questions. And I'll begin the first with a small introduction and a recollection, and then hand it over to each of you. to contribute your ideas. I came across the term decolonizing knowledge during a wave of protests, student protests primarily in South Africa. This was very shortly after 2011, after I'd worked on this project on oral citations on Wikipedia. And so it meant a lot to me. I think that conversation that I encountered at the time was primarily around the kinds of sources that were being used in the academy. It resonated very strongly with me because one of the things that I tried to work on Wikipedia, was this idea of expanding the base of what is considered to be a valid citation. Wikipedia's reliance on published sources in peer-reviewed publications or books meant in a way that it obviously privileged countries and regions of the world that had a longer publishing history, typically Europe and the United States, and in a way disenfranchised societies that did not turn their knowledge into a recognizable Western format, such as books on paper, which I thought was a shame for what I consider to be one of the world's most important and possibly revolutionary forms and ways of making knowledge, Wikipedia. And so the question I'd like to pose to you is what do you mean by decolonizing knowledge from your personal experience as well as your academic understanding of what it is? To me, about 15 years ago when I started working on this, to me, decolonizing knowledge meant to be able to take something like Wikipedia, which was a 21st century form of knowledge, a 21st century way of making knowledge, and adapt that form to suit the needs and the reality that I lived in Bangalore, in Johannesburg, or in rural South Africa and in rural India, rather than merely use Wikipedia as some kind of consumer. I wanted to be able to have equitable production on Wikipedia, which itself would necessitate a kind of decolonization of how we consider the world of reliable citations and sources. So that's my story. And maybe Chantel, because you're not a Wikipedian, and because you have extensive academic and artistic and otherwise experience in this area, perhaps we can start with you. What does decolonizing knowledge mean to you, and how has it played out in your practice?
I mean, decolonizing knowledge for me, it's really unlearning at this stage of my life. It's unlearning, the things that I learned, especially in my educative life, like, my scholarly life. It's really unlearning those things. It's unlearning the things that I grew up listening on the radio, TV, or the media. It's unlearning, in order to construct new narratives for my community, for my society. And even as a photographer, the issues that I'm interested in are issues that will say a counter narrative of what is normalized in the world as truth, as a way. And even in my also in my curatorial life as a curator, when I was invited by Princess Marilyn on this project, which is a really grand project, it took us almost 2 years to realize it. We had to bring archives from Germany, back to Cameroon, and then enter into conversation with these archives. When she came to us immediately, because we were 3 of us on the project as curators, immediately we thought about deconstructing the construction of Cameroon, or deconstructing the institutionalization of Cameroon by Germany. It was important for us to have this conversation with the wider public on how we became who we are today as Cameroonians. And since Germany, the 30 years of Germany in Cameroon, kind of constructed this narrative of who we are, institutionally and even structurally. We had to, open up the conversation, and then it was important for us to put them in conversation with contemporary artists, of which I was among as well, and not as a creator, but also as an artist, because I also had a narrative that was, pinpointing this institutionalization of a Germany in Cameroon. So this, it's actually decolonizing is showing another perspective of knowledge, of how we can translate knowledge, of how we can unlearn, and how we can learn, of how we can bring new discourses on the forefront. And that is what we did with this exhibition. I don't want to be very long. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Indeed, that was a rich narrative. Maybe we can turn next to Sandra. Sandra, for you, from your work in Brazil, how does decolonizing knowledge play out in your work and in your life? How do you think about this?
Yeah, we understand it as building collaborative and inclusive environments that could engage diverse individuals from different cultures in the production and dissemination of reliable information. In this way, it seeks to break with intellectual hegemony by strengthening ties between the global south communities and promoting autonomous knowledge based in multiple traditions and local realities. Yeah. So we understand the other side. We understand that people may be able to contribute to Wikimedia platforms, for example, and diffuse the things they want to disseminate, not what we want them to publicize.
That is a very good answer. Let's turn next to Luther. How does decolonizing knowledge play out in your reality? I think you're on mute. I feel no podcast is complete unless somebody says, I think you're on mute. So,
yeah. Thank you, Achal. So from over here in Nigeria, decolonization is a major thing because we had a long time of colonial rule in Nigeria. And so basically, virtually most of our information from here has some sort of systemic bias. And for us in here, we're trying to see how we can give voice to marginalized narratives in Nigeria, right? So the whole idea of decolonization over here is trying to give more perspective to stories that are being told about histories that had happened here or gone on in Nigeria. So we've had there are different stories about repatriation and restitution of our our sculptures from the British Museum, from Finland, and all countries in Europe, right? So for us, it's about how to get the right information out there, the originality of the information, because while these authors may not be entirely wrong in their narration of the histories that had gone down here in our country, we still know that there were still some sort of biases that were in play during the write-up of these things. And all we have is oral traditions. All we have is oral traditions. So we are looking for ways to just get to tell the stories right. And Wikimedia has been a very good platform to help a lot of Nigerians tell the stories from their local perspectives and their various diverse, views and understanding of things and how things have been done locally and indigenously. So basically, decolonization is practically going to give voice to marginalized perspectives. Thank you.
That's amazing to hear that the Wikimedia movement is really receptive and welcoming of oral traditions in Nigeria, because that wasn't my experience when trying to experiment with, not even oral traditions actually, but oral presence in 2011. So really look forward to hearing more about that. But Iolanda, from your perspective, you've been a Wikipedian for a long time. You've worked on from various perspectives, I think. Around issues connected to the African continent. And so in your practice, how has your own understanding of what decolonizing knowledge, and especially decolonizing knowledge on Wikipedia, through Wikipedia, how has that evolved, do you think, over the many years that we've known each other while you've been associated with Wikipedia?
Well, I think decolonizing knowledge, first of all, is a shared responsibility. So it's really a responsibility of each of us to build the knowledge that can really take into account and in consideration different perspective and really looking for a truth or an acknowledgement, also different understanding of things in a historical way. And in my way of looking at decolonizing knowledge, I always conceived Wikipedia as a tool to contribute to decolonizing knowledge. I always thought that this dream of creating a collaborative project where knowledge can be updated, we can reconsider the mistake that we made, we can look at, with an historiographical approach at content, so see not what things are, but also how we looked at them throughout time, and also this utopia of a neutral perspective, or at least a balanced perspective that allows to acknowledge different sources and different way of seeing things. I think also I always saw Wikipedia as very powerful. So of course it is a power structure, but it's also a structure that can give power to voices that sometimes they're not heard sufficiently. So I see it as a place that can give the floor to something that is still invisible or not sufficiently known. It can contribute to power dynamics in a new way, and I think it can also host a critical perspective. So I always saw it as a part of the reason why I started editing Wikipedia was really because it could be a place where you can rewrite history and really physically write it and rewrite it constantly. So I like this feature, and I think it should be really the way we work on knowledge in general, not a specific project.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that's incredibly rich and useful. And that leads us well into our next question, I think, right? Because, again, to set up that question, I was speaking about colonial sources being used not even just frequently, but overwhelmingly when describing usually a stub or a fairly a summarized article on Wikipedia that related to something that was either a part of South African culture or a part of South Indian culture where I live, an element of food, let's say, or a particular town. And one of the reasons why that happened, it's not solely a conversation about power, or at least it's a different kind of conversation about power. One of the reasons, at least, that happened is that, let's just say, some young male kid, from Texas or the Netherlands, who wanted to create some of these articles, went to the only sources that by the way, I think it's kind of mostly a he, just because of the skew of Wikipedia editors, and would find the sources available to him, which were limited based on where they were, and so something could be created. And so I felt that in part, the responsibility to change that, to add richer sources, to add more contemporary sources that were closer to the place that the article belonged to, lies on people from the place as well, right? I mean, you have the power to edit, to make a reality that is closer, that closer corresponds to your reality. And I think the truth is that there were and still are less editors who come from Bangalore or from Johannesburg than who come from Amsterdam or San Francisco, let's say, right? But the other side to it also is that there is an element of power as well, right? I mean, so if you are trying to broaden the scope of citations, for instance, it isn't quite as simple as saying, well, let's broaden the scope of citations, let's use this source or that other kind of source, or oral traditions or oral sources, because there is a degree of anxiety and panic and fear among people who work within a kind of a world that they have agreed upon already, right? Where a peer-reviewed publication, a scholarly publication, is the very best source, and then maybe a book from a reputed publisher is an acceptable source, or a very reputable newspaper like the New York Times is, but a smaller newspaper from another place may not be, or an unknown source may not be, or an unknown form of citation, such as audio recordings, might not be as hospitable, right? And so in this interplay of responsibility that we have, like Iolanda, I think very correctly pointed out, to make Wikipedia what we want it to be, right, which we do have the power of, as well as the interplay between this responsibility and a power structure that does exist, right, that in the world that we all face on a daily basis, especially if you live in the South. I'm wondering, what do you think are the approaches that you would recommend, particularly on Wikipedia projects, to decolonize knowledge, right? Maybe in this case, we can start with the Wikipedians, right? And so let's start with maybe Sandra. Would you like to try this question?
Okay, I will mute it. So I guess the importance of bringing all this knowledge to Wikimedia projects is why Wikimedia is an open, collaborative ecosystem with over 20 years of existence, and a global community working together for getting all this knowledge bigger and better. So it's a free and easy to edit platform, and all the Wikimedia platforms are used to structure the online knowledge on a global scale. So including integration with the search engines, and so adding the content of underrepresented knowledge to Wikimedia means making it visible to the world, not only the knowledge itself, but also the people that it represents.
Sandra, may I just ask a question? And by the way, I think what the organizers of this podcast had intended is for all of you to interject and ask questions if you have any questions. But I have a question for Sandra before we move to the next speaker. So, Sandra, have you never encountered any friction in your work, right, between, let's say, the representation of something from Brazil that a Wikipedian in Brazil wanted to do, colliding with the existing rules and the structure of Wikipedia, maybe even just in Portuguese, but then more especially in English, in translation, or in one of the other European languages?
Yeah, we have issues on, how you said, bringing oral knowledge, for example, to Wikipedia itself. But we, for example, may bring it to Wikimedia Commons easily, or maybe we can construct a Wikibook about this information, because Wikibook really accept oral sources and other primary sources. We also have issues on bringing diverse cultures to collaborate, people from diverse cultures, because of economic, social, and other questions. So many times we need to support when we go to organize an activity with these people. We need to support them, like having transport or childcare issues, and also having these activities on some places where we have internet and equipment for working. And I guess this is the global overview of some of the problems, some of the issues we have. Did I answer, Achal?
No, for sure. Thank you very much, Sandra. So, Yolanda, from your perspective, how do you see this interplay between the responsibility that all of us have, right? Whether, especially from the global south, to be able to make Wikipedia, the interplay between this and the power dynamics within Wikipedia, right? That might come up against some of these ambitions of decolonizing Wikipedia.
Well, we are talking about 18th century encyclopedia, no? So the concept of an encyclopedia in itself is so old-fashioned, and we are communities of people that are quite conservative. So we tend to be communities that don't facilitate a change. But the world has changed, and also Wikipedia and the Wikimedia Project have been changing a lot in those last years. There have been a Wikimedia Foundation strategy that has stressed very strongly the idea of inclusion, participation, also member the communities. I think also starting with the gender issue, so starting with the participation of more women on Wikipedia, have been addressing the problem of not having a sufficient number of participants, not having a sufficient number of diverse participants. And also I think sometimes one of the obstacles is also that we tend to look for people that are similar to ourselves. I think it's very important that Wikipedia and the project multiply the way you can contribute to, because otherwise we will have always the same kind of people that enjoy the existing type of contribution. I think we made progress with Wikiloves, the different contests that have been bringing a lot of images. Somehow your dream of oral citation, the closest thing that we reach, I think, throughout time were images. So we collected a lot of testimonies in different ways from people, and this participation allowed to somehow overcome the issue of sources. I think we still have a lot of existing sources that are not listed on Wikipedia. I think we should, of course, encourage more participation, but I also think that GLAMS, cultural institution, can do a lot. In our case, we've been focusing on an incredible number of exhibitions that at the moment are taking place in Switzerland about colonial history of Switzerland, so the power dynamic, what Switzerland did also related to fundings, to economic, obviously, engagement. And there are exhibitions about racism, how collections have been created. There is a lot of attention to issues of provenance. So where do the collection come from? So we want to know more about it. There is citizens and the public opinion are asking. There is the responsibility of restitution. So there is the world has been changing also in the last years. The 2017 declaration of Macron has made an impact, and I think GLAMS and exhibition and cultural institution can also provide sources. They can be also researchers, and they can provide content that can be made available on the Wikimedia Project. And this is a way also to engage in new research, in new ways of contributing. We need also to remember that those exhibitions are done very often in collaboration with a lot of people. So those projects do acknowledge some possibility of collaboration. So we're not talking about only the museum and the heritage of the museum, but also new dynamics and new way of working with content.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. That is such actually a deep and rich answer, Yolanda. Thank you for that. Luther, in your work, how do you feel you manage both the responsibility of getting other users like yourself who are interested in architecture and heritage preservation, but also who are from Nigeria, let's say, if that is a regional topic of interest for you, to get onto Wikipedia and do something there, right, and improve it. How do you see the interplay of that and, let's say, coming up against cultural norms, right, of let's say, citational practices, for instance? I mean, is there any conflict, or has your work been smooth otherwise?
All right, thank you very much, Achal. So there's always conflict, because in Nigeria, I think it's very difficult to get sources to understanding first that Wikimedia is a citation-based platform, and you need to actually reference a material to get your information or knowledge up on Wikipedia or Wikimedia Projects. It's already a challenge for us here in Nigeria because there are literally no or very few sources that can be referenced on certain matters, right? Especially as it relates to maybe heritage or professional matters. Practically, most of the information we have in Nigeria has been written by predominantly white people. Our vernacular architecture, our vernacular, it's funny if you ask me, yeah? We have 3 volumes of vernacular architecture in Nigeria written by a non-Nigerian. So as a professional in architecture who is in heritage and you want to write about vernacular architecture, you have to reference a non-Nigerian. And not like it's really bad in itself, but we have people in our local communities that have this information just at the top of their head. And this is where I think that the audio recordings that comes in during Wiki Lost Africa is very important. So I think that's something that should really be looked into as a strategy for decolonizing knowledge. So the idea of going to these local communities and recording their stories such that these informations are not lost as they move on, because how it works with every passing generation, knowledge is being lost, right? And for Wikimedia User Group here in Nigeria, I think there was a project last year that involved going around communities and documenting local languages to preserve the languages that are about to go extinct. And that's a very good thing if you ask me. But aside that, I think collaborations on both local and international levels are very important, right? I cannot be the only one that's very interested or concerned about decolonizing knowledge in Nigeria. We have people who are out of Nigeria who are also very passionate about getting the right information, or at least some sort of balanced information out there in the world. So collaborations on the Wiki platform during Wikimania, there should be some sort of a congregation, some sort, to talk about these things and to look for share ideas on how we can better decolonize information. But if it's from the aspect of citations and references, it is indeed very difficult to get citations to back up your claims on Wikipedia, considering that Wikipedia is a citation-based platform. So,
absolutely. Thank you very, very much for that. There are a couple of questions, but I'll tell you what I'll do is we'll go to Chantel to complete this round of questioning, and then I can read out the question that came in for Iolanda and Soster. Chantel, you've heard about some of the experiences of people who have been trying to decolonize knowledge on Wikipedia. And one of the things that struck me, I looked through a bit of your work, which is incredibly fascinating, of course. And I was reminded of an exhibition that I stumbled into at the Humboldt Forum in Berlin about a year ago. And I think I've honestly never encountered such a horrific spectacle of how not to decolonize knowledge, right? I mean, this was like, what I suspect is, some octogenarian German, very well-intentioned octogenarian response to the idea of what do we do with this museum that has all these looted skulls and bows and arrows from Namibia, an area we colonized and then forgot to apologize about, so several centuries after, which opened actually with a quotation from Robin DiAngelo, which was just the funniest thing that I've ever seen in my life, I think. But I was just wondering, from the work that, from what you've heard here, how do you think, for instance, Wikipedia and the Wikimedia projects might be able to better serve the purpose of decolonizing knowledge, right? Especially when it comes to things like sources and citations and a sort of foundational churn in terms of how, the structure of knowledge around a topic that lives outside of Europe is made.
Yeah, Achal, I think I'll go straight to the point and say, I think the way to resolve that is carrying out one's own research. It's really when you're talking about citations and all, because it's always references. So it's kind of, you have to go back into a book or into an article that's been written. And if you don't carry your own research to be also sure of that citation, then, you push forward the error or the mistake that has been done by the previous people who collected the sources. So in my work, even as a curator and even in this exhibition that we did, I personally carried out my own research, and I carried out the research in the country. It was important for me to also find sources where are oral archives, artifacts out in the country that can also translate that story that I want to tell to the public. Then there I'm creating my own narrative, but I'm not creating a narrative just from the air. I'm creating it from a point where I can prove, I have historical archives that are signed and dated, archives that have never been discovered by the public in Cameroon. I have artifacts from that area, which I can, put it in conversation with the artifacts that come from Cameroon. So really, at this point, I think, it's really creating new narratives that you can use to compare, to contrast, and to kind of elaborate what is a certainty, what is the truth, if there's anything like that. So really, that's how I see it. I see that to decolonize knowledge, we have to carry out a deep search. It has to go through our own research before publicizing anything on Wikimedia or Wikipedia.
That actually is such a really fascinating point that you bring up here, Chantel, because I think that in the work that I was trying to do around oral citations, for instance, we were trying to document aspects of food, in the northwest of South Africa, for instance, liquor that was harvested from fruit. Now, this is consumed by millions of people, right? But has absolutely no formal representation, and we were trying to create that archive on Wikipedia. But I do think that your ideas about creating archives of one's own that have validity, that have depth, and can command a certain kind of respect in the world is perhaps a forerunner to affecting how the same subjects are then treated or covered on Wikipedia, right? There's a question that came in specifically for Iolanda and Luther, and so maybe we can start with you, Iolanda. And the question is, Iolanda and Luther, could you elaborate on the challenges you faced incorporating oral testimonies in Wikipedia? I'm curious to understand whether it's a cultural or tech problem or both. So, Iolanda?
Well, I think the dream of having oral citation in Wikipedia is still very far away. So when Achal did this project in 2011, was really visionary. So it was really proposing something that the community never accepted. So the only way you can actually have oral citation on Wikipedia is what Chantal is saying. So investing in research. So making sure that content is recorded, published, and fortunately there are many new journals and magazines working also in Africa that work extremely well in documenting content. There are research center, and there is also the role of cultural institution. Chantal was mentioning Dualart. Dualart has also produced a lot of research. So not only you have the academia that is, of course, existing with a research center on the continent, but also you have the possibility of creating a new way of publishing and posting content. This is the only way to actually include it on Wikipedia. The other possibility is also images. Somehow images are a way also to document things that are not widely documented. If even the images on food, about food that WikiAfrica and all the participants, a broader number of countries that participate in those contests have been producing. It's an incredible source of information, and it's also available as images. So we have some possibility of creating content through oral citation, but we need always to have somewhere else to store it and to publish it. And I think it's becoming more and more simple. So you can upload content and create a DOI also on research repositories. Data are becoming more and more important also in research. So maybe that is a way things can be done.
Great. Thank you very, very much. Luther, just in the interest of time, I'd ask you maybe to combine, actually, in the interest of time, maybe you can just quickly address the question, right? Which is, should I repeat the question for you? It was as to whether, your experience with incorporating oral testimonies on Wikipedia were difficult because of a cultural or tech problem, or both. You could take out from what Iolanda just said. Go for it.
Yeah, Iolanda really did good job on answering that question, because I feel like on Wikipedia, it's trying to get oral testimonies on Wikipedia is really a challenge. It has to pass through research. There has to be an article somehow somewhere. You have to translate your oral histories to an article. So what I've done here in Nigeria personally, from my own point of view, have tried to involve more professionals in the heritage scene in this whole open source thing. So I'm regularly fronting advocacy for please can we turn our research to articles, because not a lot of people have the time to go start looking for those research that has been done at PhD levels, MSc levels. So I'm trying to get more people to write about their research. I know there are articles that have been released about all of these matters, but then these articles are hardly fetched. You can't really get access to them easily unless you're very passionate about it. So here in Nigeria, I have a group of heritage professionals, most professionals in Nigeria in architecture, and it's easier to get information about something. So oral histories are very difficult to reference on Wikipedia. It's like Sandra, like Iolanda said, it's actually still very far-fetched in the course of discussions we're having in Wikimedia. But I think generally we can start somewhere. We can start trying to translate these oral histories or these oral testimonies to articles, publish them on maybe reputable magazines in your local cultural institutions. You can actually translate some of these oral testimonies to articles and put up on the website. So it could be something you can actually cite for a Wikipedia article. And I think that's like one of the best ways you can do it. There are other means as well. There's Wikimedia Commons, the audios, the recordings from Wiki Loves Africa. Those qualified as oral history, you can actually reference and just get your article going. But then it's a challenge. Currently, it's a challenge, but we are seeing how it's getting more awareness. And I believe that somewhere, sometime, we would actually get past this bridge of trying to include all our testimonies in our Wikipedia articles and properly reference them as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Note, thank you so much, especially to Iolanda and Luther for those last two responses, because they mean quite a lot to me, because I have worked on this subject. It's something that I hold very dear. And I think that the advice, from all of you, that Chantel echoed as well, was this idea of, building the archive that we need, right, for ourselves, which leads us very directly into our last question. And maybe we can start with you, Chantel, because you're not from the Wikimedia movement, and you don't belong to a very strange but beautiful world. In the Wikimedia movement, there's this sub-movement, which we call GLAMS, which Iolanda referenced, others reference, which stands for people who are involved with galleries, libraries, archives, and museums. And it's a movement of people who work both with those institutions as well as on Wikipedia and in the Wikimedia movement in general, right? Because you have Wikipedia, and then you have Wikimedia Commons, which hosts images, and audio and video. And what they try to do is, often, the GLAMs are interested because they would like to increase their own reach through Wikipedia. And also, there are ways then, therefore, to affect the work of both, to affect the work of the museum as well through engagement with Wikipedia, right? So how do you see, if anything, a way by which people who are engaged in this kind of work on Wikipedia could contribute? What would you suggest as ways that they could contribute towards decolonizing knowledge, if any? And you're on mute. Sorry.
Yes, thank you for that question. I would say just the way they're doing it now, really. When I received an email inviting me, to join this panel, I think that's really the starting point. Is getting interested in these exhibitions. For example, what we did for Ilete Info. And I think it's really not only getting interested, but really knowing the content of this exhibition. And also, like I said, there are different stakeholders, in an exhibition. There are the institutions, there are the curators, there are the artists, inviting, them to share their perspective on this exhibition, to write an article, for publishing on Wikipedia, on Wiki Commons. I remember when I was invited on this platform, I had to it was compulsory for me to join Wiki Commons, I think. And there I submitted 2 pictures, 2 photographics of my research that I did in Battery, in the east of Cameroon. And so it's important, because I know that I didn't know about Wiki Commons, but I'd never really had the opportunity to participate, or to engage with them. But this is an opportunity, and it's really reaching out to exhibitions, and I think that's something that you're already doing, reaching out and asking for maybe a contribution, like an article or etc.
Yep.
Really, yes. I think
Absolutely.
it
Thank you
helps.
very much.
Thank you too.
Thank you very much, Sandra. Just in the interest of time, we'll move to Sandra. Sandra, what do you feel are the opportunities in terms of encouraging, GLAMs and volunteers to aid in the project of decolonizing knowledge? What do you see the opportunities as being?
Actually, I would like to present some opportunity. This year, Wikimedia Brazil is starting a set of initiatives that we will try to support Portuguese-speaking cultural institutions outside Brazil. The idea is to provide some trainings, assist with the process of uploading collections, and we will also create some resources to help other institutions that for them to become more autonomous, working alone without our help. And we are also organizing a party of Wikipedia in Portuguese. I don't know if Donia has the link to share with you, but anytime you may email me and ask for more information. I will also upload to Wikimedia Commons my presentation, the notes for this presentation. And thanks for having me here.
Thank you very much, Sandra. Luda, now that we have you, what do you think are the opportunities to encourage people working in GLAMs, new volunteers, to aid in this project of decolonizing knowledge? You could hear me, Luda? Could you? Oh, let's go to Iolanda, and then we can come back to you, Luda, right? If you couldn't hear. So, Iolanda?
Yes, I think one thing that...
Can you hear me? Can I go on?
Please.
Sure, Luda. Sorry. Yes, I couldn't hear you back. I didn't know if you could hear. Thank you. Go ahead.
There is a little difficulty with the network.
Okay. I think, go for it, Iolanda, and then we'll
yes,
go back.
And then we'll go.
Can you hear me? Can I go on?
Go ahead.
Sure. Go for it. Can you hear us, Luda? Okay. Go for it, Iolanda.
So one thing that we noticed that is very useful in engaging GLAMs is actually to focus on exhibition. Somehow, I'm repeating what Chantal was mentioning. We didn't agree on this, but it's actually true. So for the first time, I've been contacting exhibition curator rather than GLAMs institution, the director, the communication lead. And we found that a technique that is very efficient. Exhibition are ready to communicate themselves. They often have already documentation about their show. They want to engage the public, so they are already willing to maybe organize a visit or to participate in the discussion. So we found this entry point very, very useful and nice. So I would certainly recommend it. The other question, though, is how can exhibition organized in Switzerland, sometimes owning or focusing on content related to other country, can contribute to the work of volunteers all over the world? So the real question is also how can we make this content relevant? How can we share it in a way that is meaningful and helpful. For example, we have a lot of content about Benin City and Benin Bronze. Now they are at the center of a lot of restitution project. What is the best way to provide this content? Do you want the content to be shared now that is in Switzerland? Do you want the content to be the data are shared once they are in Nigeria? So this is another issue about. So this is, I think, a question that I still would like to try to answer and really open to discussion.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Iolanda. So to wrap up very quickly, I know we're a little over time, and I'm sorry about that. Luther, if you can hear me clearly, so if you can contribute to this idea and close us out with what are the opportunities that you see for encouraging people who work in GLAMs on Wikipedia, new volunteers, to be able to help with this idea of decolonizing knowledge? What would you do?
So practically, I really think that exhibitions are a go-to for me. Exhibitions of I go to like partnership with GLAM institutions in Nigeria, either galleries or museums, to get to bring this information out there and get more people aware about these information. Webinars can play a major role in getting to disseminate information about a certain thing in a country. So I think generally, like Yolanda has said about the restitution projects of the Benin bronzes that are coming back to Nigeria. And the major discourse has always been, there is no good enough facility in Nigeria to house these artifacts. We don't want to return them to your country because we don't think you have the ability to, protect them and keep them in the best condition we want them to be in. And that's what has brought about the Museum of West African Art in Benin City, where these arts were supposedly looted from in the 1897 expedition, British primitive expedition. And so practically what I think can be done is, I think more collaborations has to be done between both the on-wiki communities and the off-wiki communities, museum and museum libraries and the wiki communities in the local region or the indigenous community. There has to be some sort of partnership, projects to be worked on together, both for rewriting the stories, for putting out content out there, for getting the articles out there through the use of press and journalists in the country to ensure that we have the right information out there and we have it well represented for the benefit of all. And exhibitions are really, really very important as well. The general public, professionals, non-professionals, everybody has access to come and see these things, learn about them, and in so doing, we continue. We give strength to our oral tradition and oral histories. So thank you very much. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you all. This is such a rich discussion. I really enjoyed this very, very much. Thank you for joining us, Chantel, Sandra, Iolanda, and Luther. And back to you, Donia.
Thank you so much, Achal, for hosting this amazing conversation. And thanks to all our guests who accepted the invitation and was there in this discussing this interesting topic. Now we're gonna to move to the next section for today's episode, which is the news. So stay with us. We start with news about Wiki campaigns and events. The Wiki Loves Women focus group is launching Wiki Autumn, a new campaign dedicated to increasing structural data about African women on Wikidata. Every 2 months, a new theme will highlight African women's achievements. Join the movement to improve representation. Visit the link on the screen to find out more.
Tell us about our Women in Literature Easter campaign starts 1st March till 31st. The drive is aimed at improving visibility and descriptions of women in literature on Wikimedia Projects. The Easter tool will help you to add better descriptions onto the photographs already uploaded to Wikimedia Commons so that they are more useful on Wikipedia and Wikidata. There are small prizes to be won. Internet bundle or Amazon gift cards with $50 for first prize and $25 for second prize. Join the game and win.
The International Wiki Loves Folklore contest is back. Capture and share photos, videos, or audio showcasing folklore and cultural heritage from around the world. The contest runs from February 1st to March 31st, 2025, with exciting prizes for top contributors. For all the details, check out the link on screen now.
March is Women's History Month, and the Wikimedia movement is marking the occasion with Celebrate Women campaign. A series of learning and sharing events are planned, including training sessions and the official Women's Month launch, which is on the 7th of March at 1500 UTC. Sign up for office hours and get involved. For all the details, check out the link on screen now.
Interested in participating in Wiki Loves Ramadan 2025? Join the international campaign or create your local dashboard to track contributions. Top 10 participants globally will win prizes. Get the full details, visit the link on your screen.
Join the upcoming language community meeting to discuss language-related projects, challenges, and solutions. This is a great opportunity to collaborate on language keyboards, Wikipedia translations, and more. Sign up and find details. Check out the link for more.
The Wikimedia Youth Conference will take place in Prague from May 16 to 18, 2025, focusing on attracting young people to Wikipedia. 80 participants from across the Wikimedia movement will collaborate on ways to grow youth engagement in Wikimedia projects. Make sure to visit the Youth Conference 2025 page on MetaWiki for more details.
Some news from the community. Wikimedia Community User Group South Sudan has officially been recognized. The group will promote Wikimedia projects in the country and support new contributors. Join us in congratulating them.
Wikimedia is participating in the next round of Outreachy, a remote paid internship program supporting underrepresented groups in tech. If you have project ideas for coding, design, documentation, or research, submit them from 4th March 2025. Mentors and interns can learn more. Head over to the link on your screen.
Make sure to visit the WikiAfrica Hour news page on MetaWiki for all relevant links. Enjoy the episode.
Now we still have the last news item, which is the mega event we have in Wiki in Africa. We are happily want to announce that Wiki Loves Africa 2025 launched on 1st March, next Saturday. So we invite you all to share your photos, videos, and audio that sum up this year's theme, which is Farm to Plate, from Farm to Plate. So join us for the launch event on the 12th March to know more details about this year's competitions. Now we are moving to the third and last section for today, which is an inspiring open interview with, as you know, the third section is the In Focus section, in which we focus on person, event, or maybe a project. And today we're going to have a recorded interview with one of the guests we have during the episode, who is Sandra Soster. So let's play, and hope you enjoyed the interview. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation to be the star for inspiring open interview for today. We already mentioned in the episode that you are the Glam and Culture Manager of Wiki Movimento Brazil since 2022. And now we want to talk to you more about your journey in the open movement, in Wiki projects and outer Wiki projects or other projects as well. So let's start with you by introducing yourself. Tell us more about you and your work.
Thanks, Donia. So, Sandra Soster, and as Donia told you, I'm the Glam Wiki manager of now Wikimedia Brazil. We got the chapter status in last month. So my PhD research was about cultural heritage and how people could participate, collaborate with nomination of what is really important to them. And this led me to a project called ePatrimônio, where I've georeferenced 13,000 cultural assets here in Brazil, along all the states in Brazil. Oh yeah, I am from Brazil. I forgot to say it.
By the way,
By the way. And this project, ePatrimônio, is a CC BY project, so all the content can be reused. And the idea when I found this project was, I want to see where the listed assets are located in Brazil, because we are a really huge country, geographically talking. And then I thought to myself, but if I will organize a map, why don't organize in open, something somewhere open that other researchers could use the same map, so you don't need to start from zero. And then I found this project, and then when I was finishing my PhD project,
degree.
degree, I got this job, this amazing and dreaming job of glam and culture manager. And all this work I have done was already in use in Wikidata, because our technological manager scrapped all the coordinated and were using to Wikilove Monuments, Brazil. So it was really amazing to know this. And now I'm working in Wikimedia Brazil, not Wikimedia Brazil, for 3 years. And all the contributions I'm doing make sense. The things I did before WMD and the things I'm doing during this professional career.
Yeah. Sandra, some people may be afraid of what open projects can do or can achieve. So, in your journey, what being open added to your journey, the personal one and the professional one as well?
Yeah, I guess. Yes, I came from an academic environment, and many people are really closed about this thing of authorship. Oh, will someone use my work? Yes, someone will use your work to get another step in the knowledge. And all this process of evolving knowledge will be quicker or more quick. I don't know how to say in English. So the evolving process will occur rapidly. And then I guess this is the essence of the core of being open. Other people will collaborate to your knowledge, expand it, and you will take this expanded knowledge and get another step. And I don't know, I really don't like to work non-collaboratively. So I'm not, we used to say in the academic environment, a researcher with it's their oh God, I forgot the name. Cup of coffee. So why it's just one person and the coffee and writing? No, this is not for me.
Yeah. But really, being or seeing like women in leadership positions, something that give gives an inspiration for others, for other women to take steps and to not too afraid of taking positions in leadership as well. So as when I hear that you already did great work in research and some positions during your this interesting journey, do you have any personal experience that you felt that your gender or being a female was a disadvantage or like impacted your choices?
Yeah, in my professional life, yeah, sometimes I feel, even feel, yeah, and I felt many times, and I even feel mainly men sometimes look at me as if I don't know what I'm saying, just
Yeah.
because I'm a woman. But with my partners, with my GLAM institutions, I feel they really feel embraced by me and no, let go, let's do it, and some kind of I don't know how to explain Donia. They really feel
Take your
good
time.
uh,
Take your
in
time.
touch. Yeah, they really feel good in touch with me in online touch, not physical touch with me, and we really think about activities and uploads. I guess this part with my partners is really good, and in the process of being a volunteer collaborator, volunteer user of Wikipedia, this is a bit more difficult. In the beginning, my username was my real name, and then talking to other women who collaborate with Wikipedia and starting this process of understanding how to do it, how to edit, I thought it was a better idea not to link the person to the user. So I changed my username,
Change your name.
yeah, to including to avoid some kind of prejudice. And actually, many of the users who get in touch during the activities, administrative activities and other, think I am a man because all the system, yeah, no, it's a Wikipedia user. Sure, for sure, it's a man. And so changing my username to something neutral, uh, it's kind of protected me from misogyny. So they think I'm a man, so they won't do anything related against women, against me.
Yeah. And in your opinion, Sandra, currently, what type of initiatives or projects inside the Wikimedia movement that we need to we further need because we already have many of them, but are there any other initiatives or projects that we need to ensure female presentation, female empowerment?
Yeah, I guess, and they were really important to me in my journey as a volunteer user. The women Wikimedia groups, as Wikimulheres Mais in Brazil, Wiki Editoras LX in Portugal. They are spaces of secure spaces for talking about the things that happen inside Wikipedia, especially. And also, I love this project named Whose Knowledge. That is not only about women, but all this gap of knowledge we have in Wikipedia and other platforms.
Mm-hmm. So at the end of the interview, do you have any comment or any topic that you want to raise and we haven't covered?
Actually, I have many, but we don't have time for them. I just want to invite everyone to edit Wikipedia, to find some group you like, to have all these changes, all these exchanges we need to learn how to edit. And please don't be sad if your first edition in Wikipedia would be reverted. Try again. You need to be an insistent person to really learn how to contribute in the platforms.
We will have reverted edits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sandra. Thank you so much. It was
so
very
much.
inspiring, and yeah, thank you.
Okay.
So we're reaching now the end of February episode. At the end of the episode, I just want to thank all the people who work to end up with this amazing and complete episode. For our audience, don't forget to subscribe us on our YouTube channel and to follow us on Facebook and to join and share our episode for the next month as well. It will be about women in about women in Wikimedia movement. So stay tuned for more details. And so see you next month. Bye-bye.
WikiAfrica Hour is a production of Wiki in Africa that supports the development of the Wikimedia movement across Africa. We value your suggestions on social media for the topics you want to discuss. We look forward to your participation next month at the same time and on the same channel. Hit the subscribe button to stay open and up to date, and follow WikiAfrica on social media. See you at the next WikiAfrica Hour.